What is trauma? Trauma is something that was too much for you at the time. And it can also be something that was not enough. It was too much for your system, or it was not enough for your system, and it put you into a mode where you were kind of in a survival type state. So trauma, we often think of as something very excessive, very big, like an accident, let's say. We'll use that as an example, where you feel like there's too much going on. There's a lot of emotions. There's a lot of intensity. Sometimes there's a lot of injury. So whether it injured you, whether it was physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, we think of trauma as something big, a big event, something very excessive that happened. And that doesn't always have to be the case. It can be a smaller event that overwhelmed you at the time. It was something you weren't prepared for. It was something that overwhelmed your nervous system. And it was just something that clicked you into a bit of a survival mode, whether you were aware of it or not. Trauma is a very, very individual thing because we're all taught how to process emotions differently, how to deal with life differently. We're all given various tools. We're all very different people. So how we respond and react to different things that happen to us in our lives are going to be very different. And what's traumatic to one person might not be to another person. So it's a very, very individual thing. And trauma on the flip side can also be you not having enough. Trauma can be a lack of something. So this is where you talk about someone being denied expressing their emotions. You were taught not to express your emotions. You were not allowed to express them. You were not allowed to do a lot of things. So there was a lack. Things were cut off for you, and you were not given the space to be able to open up, to grow, to express yourself, to do anything that you should have been able to do. So there was a serious lack of something. And it doesn't have to be on a scale. There's no checklist. You don't have to meet a requirement for trauma. Trauma, again, is very individual based on your environment, what you were taught, how you process things, how you learn, the environment that you're in now versus the environment you were in then. It's very, very, very individual, and it's very specific to each of us depending on what's going on in our lives. So whether or not you feel you have significant trauma or not, you can see if there's any emotional energy that you're carrying from your past that might be trauma related with emotion code sessions. Emotion code sessions connect to your subconscious, and they look for negative trapped emotions from your past, something you didn't process because you weren't able to at the time. So again, something was too much for you. It was overwhelming. There was too much going on, and you had to physically survive a situation. Something happened and you weren't able to process all the emotions that came up. Maybe there was too many at once, so you held on to some of it. Or on the flip side, you weren't allowed to process. You were denied the ability to process, you were shut down, and you were not allowed to express what you needed to. So we look for and release those negative trapped emotions, and hopefully that will help you with all kinds of things moving forward, from energy blocks for love, money, and health to any kind of other issues you might be having physically, mentally, emotionally, and so on. If you're interested in more information, click the link in the bio wherever you see it around here, or in the comments if this is on YouTube. And if you want to drop me a comment or a question in the comments, I'm happy to answer them for you too.